What's up, everyone? The Arid Lords here. Welcome back to another Walking Dead review. This is the second to last one, and pretty much the last one in this format. After this, I will be doing, if I haven't already announced it on my other videos, just to say it early on, I will be doing a reaction video to the finale, the series finale of The Walking Dead, Season 11, but just the entire series overall. Old school reaction video. Start to finish, no cuts, pretty much how I buttered my bread when I started doing this. Although I did start just with regular reviews for Season 4 and most of Season 5, started doing the reactions with the finale of Season 5, and then did it 6, 7, 8, most of 9. I stopped off with a little bit of 9, and then I came back towards the latter half. Did 10, and really haven't been doing them for 11 just because of being busy and other factors. But I figured this is a momentous occasion, so I really can't not, give this series due diligence from my angle, So I want to do that. But that'll be in 2 weeks. And it'll give me an opportunity to maybe do like a death predictions video or just maybe like a series outlook kind of thing, because the finale is not going to be airing until the TV air date, because they want the people who have AMC Plus and regular cable to like watch it together, which I think is cool. I don't think it would make sense to release this episode early and then like have the like launch on cable just suddenly spoiled. That would be kind of stupid. So anyway, so that this is the penultimate episode, Family. And it was an intense episode. Obviously it stayed true to the name of its episode. There was a lot of like family moments, a lot of heartwarming moments. Especially, I really liked one of the conversations, just to give an early call out, the conversation between Ezekiel and Negan. It's interesting that like within this back half, we have this like arc between these two characters that you never would have thought they would have never had any screen time. They never did. They were on opposite sides of the Savior War, and Negan didn't even really deal with the kingdom. That was all Gavin's responsibility, if you guys remember from the old Savior days. There was just no interaction between these two characters. So it was really cool to see some interaction. He was probably like the last major character that Negan had never like really interacted with at all, being Ezekiel. And it was just a really, like he thanks him for stepping in front of the rifles at the, the thing with the warden. And it was just nice that, Ezekiel, it seems like he's moved on from the bitterness. He'd said that he didn't want to live his life holding on to the bitterness of what happened during the Savior War. And it was a really cool moment from Negan. Like, honestly, like you can kind of see his anti-hero arc completed, because he's like, I know that the people around me are better than me, and I'm trying to leave a legacy that's better than what I had. And it's just cool because, the Negan of the comics never got this completion of his arc in Justice. And no matter how confusing and maybe underwhelming everything being wrapped up is currently, what I do really like is how they're wrapping up Negan's arc. And it's funny because that's one of the few characters we know is getting an extension in the Negan Maggie Isle of the Dead, or Dead City, or whatever the heck that show is in New York City. That's going to be coming out next year. So it's just cool because I feel like his Walking Dead arc is kind of complete. He was the biggest, baddest villain there was, killed two prominent characters in probably the most vicious manner possible in the show. I mean, it's debatable whether the head spike scene with Alpha was more gruesome than the head bashing scene with Lucille, but for this character to go on this journey, it's been awesome. And I was really hoping they were not going to sideline him during the Commonwealth arc, because he wasn't in the Commonwealth arc in the comics for reasons I don't understand. As I've ranted about in previous videos, Kirkman had made some really stupid decisions with not only the Commonwealth arc, but the Whisper arc in general. I just didn't think it was a very compelling arc. He was just spinning his wheels. So many issues were just Rick and Pamela just arguing about how government should operate. It wasn't very compelling. Even with some of the weirdness with the Commonwealth arc in the TV series and the fact that I feel like they're kind of rushing it, I still prefer the way that they did it. Lance was given much more prominence, even though I think his ending was also kind of stupid. But anyway, not to spin too off course. We have, yeah, so I guess other than the Negan Ezekiel interaction, I can back up to the beginning of the episode. We've been having these monologues from Judith at the this back half of episodes. She's been giving these monologues about the past and stories and different pieces of information from our characters, and just like a history of, it's almost like the encyclopedia and just like the history of the Walking Dead from the beginning to now. And it is reminiscent of that issue 193 from the comics, where like an older Carl is talking about how the world used to be before there was a peace. And so it's cool to see, Judith doing the voiceover, but she's speaking as like a child. Like, I would be confused if I heard like an older woman, because people have predicted that, we're going to see an older Judith with her family, like years after the Commonwealth conflict. And, it's going to be like a happily ever after ending. Now, I'm going to get to this at the end of the video, because I continue to be very, very confused about how this is all going to wrap up. And I will probably have a much longer discussion about it, not only in my finale reaction video, but then probably some post-discussion stuff I'll do with some other YouTubers, and probably my friend The Walking Dead World, Jeff, on Twitter. But yeah, so Judith jumps into the conflict here. It's cool how her monologue like bleeds into the present, where you see her picking up her weapons. And like, I knew it. It was such like it was such like a warning flashing sign, like, oh, something might happen to this character, when she's insisting that she goes to the Commonwealth with Daryl, Carol, and the whole gang. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, if you ever needed to hit the nail on the head that something's going to happen to this character, and like, I'm thinking to myself, Judith, this is the future. In some ways, I think she should have been your main character alongside Daryl as our adult main character. I feel like she hasn't been given too much time, honestly. Like, Judith has been sidelined a little bit, if you guys think about it, this back half. I mean, now we have this, major scene that happens to her in this episode that I'll get to, but, I don't know. I feel like they could have used her a little bit more in this back half. So they take the train to the Commonwealth. Meanwhile, there is a horde, Aaron, Jerry, Lydia, and then Luke and his girlfriend from Oceanside, and Elijah, the guy with the mask. They're all bringing this horde towards the Commonwealth. Now, here's something I don't understand, and I need somebody in the comments or something to explain this to me, okay? Why the fuck are they bringing a gigantic horde of walkers towards the Commonwealth gates? Can someone answer this question for me? Because based on how the episode ends, this is a major plot point and a major issue for the characters overall. Because originally this was going to be like a rebellion within the Commonwealth. They were going to sneak into the Commonwealth with Mercer's help, and they were going to take Pamela down. They were going to kick her off her throne. But now you have this third exterior threat with the walkers. Not only that, there's smart walkers in the freaking group with them, climbing and using weapons, as we saw a few episodes ago. So, what was why did Aaron and the group bring the freaking horde towards the Commonwealth? Because they only put, you can use it, it's similar to how they attacked the Sanctuary during the Savior War. They had the giant walker horde. It's a really, it's almost like a mini army. It's a neutral set of, soldiers, essentially, you can use in this world, because they'll attack anything. They're not picking sides because they're undead. And it's similar to Terminus. Think about some of our biggest conflicts. They've used walkers as a means to kind of tip the scales. Terminus, the Sanctuary Savior fight. So this is similar to that, but but this is a little different though, because you're endangering, like, there's 50,000 people who live there, okay? And one thing I did appreciate was we did get some like exterior sweeping camera angles in this episode of the Commonwealth. We actually finally saw the Commonwealth gates, like the gates, the entrance of the Commonwealth. And then you can see like up the road, like the road leading to it. You can see like into the city a little bit. So like it gives some like visual mapping to the audience of like what this setting is that we've been in for this entire season, which I really think they should have done this probably in an earlier episode, maybe even at the beginning of season 11 when Eugene and his initial group was onboarded, because it would have given us a sense of, like, even if you don't have the budget to like have this massive city with all these people running around, you could have at least had like some sort of CGI pan out shot where it was conveyed the size of this place, because this is the largest civilization we've ever dealt with in the show. And it's sometimes difficult because they only film in like a few locations, like the hospital, like that outside, like kind of like courtyard area that's outside the train station, inside the train station, Pamela's office. Like there's just like a few office location, like the filming is usually confined, right? And the comics was obviously able to do this much differently, because in the comic book you don't need to like pay for multiple set locations. You can just pencil in and draw stuff. Like there's a freaking football game in a stadium in the comics, and they adapted that into wrestling because you can't do that, although but just with costs. But it's funny, Angela Kang said in one of the behind the scenes that the logistical problems behind that was like COVID, like filming during COVID with like proximity. If COVID wasn't a thing, I'm curious if they would have had a football thing in there. I doubt it. Again, it's expensive. I doubt that they'd have a freaking football stadium in The Walking Dead. Like it seems like two totally different things, right? But anyway, not to get off topic. I'm back to the question. Why did Aaron's group with Lydia and the others bring this horde? Why did they bring, like, they're the ones, like, I guess you could argue the Commonwealth soldiers in that Jeep were also, like, trying to hurt it, but, like, they're the ones who were using the Whisperer tactics, and, like, I did like in this episode, like, you hear the Whisperer theme, Beta's theme, like, the drums, the dun 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 dun, like, I love the like that whisper like drum theme where like the drums, like it's an undertone as the walkers are coming, and it's a really cool way of like using audio to narrate this impending doom. It's a great way of using audio in that sense, rather than just some sort of jump scare audio. It's very cool. I loved it during the whisper part with Alpha and Beta, and it's cool that like it comes into play here. We also saw this during the Reaper stuff, so it's cool. I love seeing like whisperer tactics against our future foes that like never encountered them, and obviously our group has, so they're using their skills. Like it's cool. Like it shows that like that stuff never left us. Like for the Saviors, there's obviously Negan, and then for the Whisperers, they use their tactics. Like it's interesting. Like they've gained something from a lot of their adversaries along the way. It's just a cool little extra thing, nuance. But anyway, yes. Why was the Horde brought there? Because now in this next episode, Pamela is going fucking batshit crazy, power hungry. She wants the Horde to, kill all of the poor civilians, and then they're gonna, trap our group. So it's a way to also kill off the group, because you could see at the end of the episode as they're running down all of the street corridors, the soldiers were hurting the walkers to basically like take out the group. And yeah, so like not only is this bad for our group, but it's also bad for like all of the civilians. And we see in the preview like they're up against the gates and freaking out. Like I don't understand like why this was done. Like I could understand if the Horde like was naturally coming towards the gates, but that's not the case. Like our group deliberately gathered walkers and brought them to the gates of the Commonwealth. Unless they're not in communication, like maybe they just weren't in radio communication and didn't know, and this was they were trying to do their own thing, and our group on the train was trying to do their thing. So there were two separate things happening. 'Cause I don't know if that's like that might be why, but I don't know. That's a mystery and a probably an issue I had with this episode, just like because it's such a central piece of how the episode ends, and it just seems unnecessary and just uncoordinated, right? So for all the coordination they had in this episode, getting on the train, using Mercer as like an inside double agent, it just was kind of annoying that like you had like two groups that were almost like doing their own thing, and they almost like collide and like mess up. It's just I don't know. I don't know if that was the plan or what. And I also didn't understand the plan. Like, how were they going to overthrow Pamela? Like, what's the like what is like if they really wanted to get rid of her, why didn't Mercer just like pull out a freaking pistol and shoot her in the head? Like, what's the plan here? Like, Mercer did mention that he needs to get like enough soldiers to turn against her, but what's that process? Like there's never really a discussion of like how they're going to like are they going to detain her? Are they going to arrest her? Like on what charges? Like oh, well actually they did say they were going to try to arrest her for like making all the people disappear. That was going to be their way to do it. But like the how was still confusing. Like how were they going to do this? Like once they snuck into the city, if Pamela didn't have that trap in the train station, what was going to be their strategy? I don't know. Again, that was another piece of the plan that was very confusing to me. And then speaking of, obviously we get to a pretty cool gunfight in the train station. And I knew it. I knew I don't know who the chick is, the chick with the short hair who catches on to the fact that Mercer is, turning against Pamela. And they set up that trap in the train station. And we get the very dramatic scene where, of course, it's Pamela, right? Like, they didn't want it to be just like a red shirt, freaking random soldier. Pamela picks up the gun, tries to shoot Maggie, and then Judith like kind of pushes her out of the way, and then Judith gets shot. Now I don't know where Judith got shot. It looks like she got shot in like the shoulder, like right here. But by the end of the episode, like she is conscious, like she didn't just die. Like at the end of the episode, like she's, she calls Daryl dad, and she's kind of like fading in and out of consciousness. At the end of the episode, Angela Kang equated it to when Carl gets shot in season 2 on the farm. Which I guess, yeah, that makes sense. That's the parallel that they're trying to draw. I would be beyond shocked if they killed her. I was originally kind of like frightened. I was like, did they? Like, I don't think they would. And, then she was waking up towards the end, and then Daryl is the one that he slips through. It looks like at the end of the episode, like they make it to the hospital. Although I don't know if those hospital workers would, do anything, but I guess we'll see. And I'm not sure if they're like already kind of like hiding, hunkering down because of the impending Walker horde, but we'll see. I mean, I expect Judith to live. Like, again, it would be a crime if she wasn't like alive for her mother coming back and or Rick Grimes coming back. I told you, like I said this in a vlog, like back when Rick was taken in the helicopter and flew away, that I want to see the reunion between older Judith, Rick, and Michonne. If the Rick Michonne series doesn't give that to us, or if whatever the freak future series, maybe it's the next final episode, I don't know what it is, but if we don't get that, that is a massively stupid missed opportunity. And I think, again, it's the way they paced all of this. I don't know why, you would put yourself in that situation to begin with. So we have all hell breaking loose. We have walkers getting in the city because, apparently we wanted to bring a horde to just spice things up. Then again, you can't have The Walking Dead without the literal undead. Our group gets trapped in the city. They're currently trapped around a giant horde of walkers. Daryl and Judith make it through, and it looks like they're on their way to the hospital. I did like the scene, like they throw the freaking fire extinguisher in the air, and Daryl uses Rick's hand cannon to shoot it. That was pretty epic. Trying to think of what else. Yeah, I mean, like, it was a suspenseful episode. I enjoyed it, but, like, I'm confused I keep saying this in all of my vlogs, and finally next week, I don't have to say it anymore because that's it. Like, once I watch next week's episode of the week, 2 weeks from now, whatever, it's done. There's no more, and, there's set up for the spin-off series, but then that's a whole other set of discussions that we get to have. So, um, I don't know. I really don't know where we go from here. And I'm really shocked that there's no mention of the CRM at all. I understand that, like, there's so much going on with the Commonwealth right now. In my mind, I was thinking to myself, I was like, they can't mention the CRM because there's just so much going on with the Commonwealth and with all of our characters and all these conflicts, and you only have like an episode and a half to wrap this up. And I don't know if the finale is extended or not. I would expect it that it would be, but I don't know how they're going to pull this off, man. Because here's what I referenced at the beginning of the video. The comic issue 193, which is the final issue of the Walking Dead comics, where we have an older Carl and his family, and civilization is perfect, and there's a train line, and the whole, country is united, and they've expanded, and it's all hunky-dory. You cannot do that in the show. The reason being is because you've included this new group, which is a show exclusive in the CRM, or Civic Republic Military, and they are the ones that are holding the main character behind all of this in Rick Grimes. So we can't do an aging of Judith. We can't see a 30, 40-year-old Judith with her, spouse and kids talking about the past and all of the sacrifices that her family and friends made. Why? Because even if the Commonwealth, see, it's the thing, this is like the box that the show has boxed itself into, because even if the Commonwealth conflict is resolved, like maybe it's completely and utterly resolved, we know that there is a much larger, bigger group that's a bigger threat. The CRM has 3 different societies across the entire United States. One of those had 200,000 people, like the Omaha civilization had 200,000 people. Again, like, how does a civilization that has 50,000 people and one that has 200,000 people, how does they not knows about each other? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, freaking Gimple, the liar that he is, said last year in Talking Dead, someone asked him, does the Commonwealth and the CRM know about each other? And he's like, oh, we'll see the answer to that in season 11. Well, I just watched the penultimate episode and it's not mentioned. So unless it's like a bonus scene, like what? Is it going to be some sort of like secret bonus scene at the end of The Walking Dead as like a teaser into all of the freaking spinoff shows? Something like some minute thing, because at this point it has to be, because you can't bring it up, because again, we have like we have the conflict to resolve. We got to get all the fucking walkers out of the Commonwealth. We got to take down Pamela. We got to revive Judith, and our group has to escape, and so on and fucking so forth. So I don't know, man. Like, I really thought that the Commonwealth and the CRM were in cahoots. I thought the Commonwealth was trading, like, all the people that were disappearing. I thought they were trading those people to the CRM for the A and the B thing that Jadis was doing. That didn't turn out to be the case. There is that designation 2 that's mentioned, that Connie was going to go there before she was rescued. It's like a secondary place if you don't go to one of the outpost internment camps. That it was never expanded like what that was, so maybe that's giving them to the CRM as tribute. I don't know. I feel like this was just like a missed opportunity. And if you had 8 more episodes to resolve the Pamela shit and then deal with some of the CRM stuff and then lead us into the spinoff series, I think that would have been fine. But now you've got 1 episode, and I feel like there's so much stuff to wrap up, and I don't know how they're going to do it. I really don't. This is kind of the same problem as Game of Thrones ran into, I don't know what it is with these big shows that we have to give ourselves like 8 episodes and we give ourselves a plot that spans 24 episodes. So let's take the plot of 24 episodes and push it into 8 episodes. Like, what's the logic in that? That doesn't make sense. You're just rushing things, rushing production, rushing the writing. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, and I'm trying to buy into this, and I will watch the spin-off series because this is the larger universe. This is how this all gets connected in the end. But I don't know, like, I don't know how this resolves because, like, they're like, this is the series finale, this is the final episode, but it's not. Like, that's the thing. This isn't the final episode because we have Rick Grimes' story with the CRM and Michonne and Negan and Maggie and Daryl. Like, that's how many main characters is that? So Negan, Maggie, Daryl, Rick, Michonne. That's 5 main major characters that are going to continue beyond the main show. And you're telling me that this is a series finale. It's not. You see, at least with Game of Thrones, like Game of Thrones, that was it. That was the end. No spin-offs. And the spin-offs that they did do took place hundreds and hundreds of years before the events of the main show. But this is different. This is the inverse. We're ending the show, but all of our spin-offs take place after the show. So I don't see, again, like, I don't see what you're getting at here. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know where we're going to conclude this. They say that there's going to be a conclusion, but, like, how do you conclude? Because we know that there's more conflicts, and you can say, oh, we're going to save the CRM and the helicopter stuff, but even, like, imagine someone watches this show. No knowledge of any news, no spinoffs. Like, they just watched The Walking Dead seasons 1 through 11. The helicopter stuff with the rings and all of that, that is mentioned in a bunch of Walking Dead episodes. Season 8 with Jadis in the junkyard. Obviously in season 9 when Rick is ferried off in that helicopter. So how do you end your main show without, like, resolving it within your show? Because you would have to get external information to know that there's going to be a spinoff and there's going to be this and there's going to be that. Daryl goes to fucking France. Negan and Maggie go to fucking New York. Ugh. I don't know. I've heard rumors that Rick might show up in the finale. I don't fucking know how. Like, I don't know if this is going to be like the scene from Lord of the Rings. Like, he just comes with a massive CRM army. Like, the Commonwealth has them, all hope is lost, and the Commonwealth has them at gunpoint. And then, the CRM helicopters just rip through the whole fucking group, and Rick comes with his helmet. He's like, yeah, that's right. I'm Rick Grimes. Like, I mean, maybe that's possible, but, like, that would be the biggest Deus Ex fucking ending in history. So there was that one photo of Rick in Georgia. I don't know. Someone put it up on Instagram. So, like, he was, like, in the area while they were doing filming. So I've seen, like, it's not confirmed, but I've seen some people theorizing that he might be in it. And it would be kind of dumb. Like, this show started, the very first scene of this show started with Rick, driving up in his cop car looking for gas when he sees the zombie girl. If you don't end it with him in some capacity, I don't know, kind of dumb, but anyway. Last thing, Negan saying what the fuck to the walker climbing over the barrier was really funny. I released, like, an audible laugh just because, like, knowing he was neutered and he never could say the F word during the Savior arc, and just I loved just the raw authenticity of it. Just, well, like, what the fuck? Like, like, it was hilarious. It was hilarious to see that. Like, I've seen, obviously we saw Jerry, Aaron, the others reacting to that, in their own way. That Negan reacts in the most Negan way possible. So that was hilarious. So anyway, I will give this episode an 8.5. Like, I enjoyed it, but I don't know how this connects. The more episodes go by, the more questions I have, and we only have one more, and I'm worried this isn't going to be wrapped up properly, and that I'm going to have more and more and more and more questions about all of this, and then I have to wait until fucking next year to consume all of the shows that they're going to release next year. And I feel like I'm going to be continuing The Walking Dead, but it's going to be all split up. Like, I'm going to be watching, you know, the Negan show, and then I've got to wait a few months for the Rick show, and then I got to wait a few months for the Daryl show. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you guys have any of these theories or thoughts about the show and just kind of the direction they're going, because it's kind of confusing to me. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later, and peace out. Only one more of these left.